Hey guys, I was talking to a friend about my makeup purchases, which were a lot for 2021, and she said, well, why don't you just rank all the palettes you tried in 2021? And I was like, that's a really good idea, and I'd actually been thinking about it, but I decided to go ahead and do it. So here is my palette ranking for all the ones I've tried in 2021. This does not mean these palettes came out in 2021. Some did, but not all. Most of them, I was just trying for the first time in 2021. So, I can't promise you that I know exactly when they came out, but, or if I know if they came out in 2021, I will let you know, but I don't know that about everything. I can't keep up with all that. So, yeah. A few of these I have decluttered, and that was just because one of them I really didn't like, and a few of the other ones I just like to give things away, and if they're not my like most prized possessions, usually they're the ones that I choose to give. So I don't give away anything horrible to someone, but I don't give away my most prized possessions either. I'm not going to go out and give a Natasha Denona palette away for the most part. I actually did right before Christmas give one away, but I ordered an extra by accident, and it wasn't like a big palette, it was one of the little minis. But yeah, I accidentally had two in my cart. Why I didn't recognize or realize that, I don't know, but it worked out. So I gave one away right before Christmas, and I was very happy to do that, so someone else can experience the Natasha Denona formula. So with that being said, let's see. Limoncello from ColourPop. That's not being ranked because I gave it away. I really like the palette. There was nothing wrong with it. I just gave it away because I have a lot of neutrals in my collection and I didn't really need it. There was a Revlon So Fierce palette. I forget the name of it exactly, but it was a palette of all shimmers, and I gave that one away. I gave away a Tin Pan Wet n Wild Color Icon palette. I did not like it. I couldn't get it to work for me. Maybe someone else will have better luck. Someone else liked the color story of it, so I give it to them. I think it was actually my mom. I believe it was. And then there was a Cara, I'm not sure, that I had picked up when I was at Marshall's, when I did a full face of Marshall's, and I gave that away to my best friend, actually. And I love the palette. I love the quality of the palette. It had like the blush and highlighter in it as well, but just didn't need it, so I gave it to her. All right, so let's get into this, shall we? I have a ton of palettes in front of me. So if you've been around any amount of time, you may have seen me talk about this and complain about this. This is the Jason Wu Flora 9 Desert Rose palette, and it looks really beautiful, right? Like all the colors, it's a very neutral color scheme. It looks like it would be super beautiful and just right up my alley. These shimmers don't work. Like, I can dig in. There's hard pan on all three of these shimmers because I've dug in so deep. If I hold it like that, you can kind of see the hard pan on that one. And my husband's upstairs. If you hear him, I'm sorry. I gave up trying to ask him to be quiet. It's just not going to work. But like, it comes off. These are the most pitiful shimmers I've ever seen in my life. That's a shimmer. It looks more like a matte with like a little bit of glitter in it. But yes, like, see that one, how that looks like really reflective and beautiful? It barely comes off, and like when you put it on the eye, it's not even there. It's not even there. So I had to like literally scratch into it to try to get something. So not a fan. Do not recommend this eyeshadow formula. The mattes weren't even that great, honestly. Like, they come off, they're all right. They're not the worst thing in the world, but I mean, there are more pigmented, affordable eyeshadows out there that I will recommend. This is not one of them, so definitely skip over this one. This one actually is going into a declutter pile. Next was the Milani and Juicy Jazz collab, and this has nothing to do with Juicy Jazz. I love her. I was so excited for these eyeshadows. I really was. I love this color story. I love purples. I love to wear purple. I have a little bit of purple on my eye today. I love to wear purple with my brown eyes. I love it. But these are absolutely ridiculously messy, and just like I had to put a lot on my eye to get it to show up. And I finally, like how she did in her videos, she would like put it on the brush and then spray it and then put it on her eye, and that kind of worked. I'm not gonna work that hard to get an eyeshadow to work for me. I'm sorry. I'm lazy maybe. I don't know. But when there are other affordable eyeshadows that I can get to work and I don't have to work that hard to get one to get on my eye, you know, I'm not gonna work for it that hard. So, I'm not a fan of Milani shadows. I've come to find out I probably shouldn't try out anything else. The mattes were okay. Honestly, they weren't that blendable. I wasn't that crazy about them. So I have this one, which is the Like a Dream. And then I like this one just a tad bit more because of the color story, but it's still not my favorite. And this one is We Did Something. So it's a beautiful, like, neutral color story. Still awful. Awful. I had stuff all over me with this in that video. So these are also going in a declutter pile. I actually went and pulled this one out of my declutter. And it's nothing against the formula. I love Juvia's Place formulas. Absolutely. Juvia's Place is an amazing affordable eyeshadow brand. You can get this at Ulta, and it's actually in like the drugstore section. But do you see me using these colors? No. No. I have a little bucket upstairs. It's not a bucket. It's a box, and it has a lot of giveaway stuff in there. That green is very beautiful. You guys know how I feel about greens. But so I just have a lot to give away, and I have it in that box. And so I just went up there to check and find something else, and I found this, and I was like, oh, I needed that one. So yeah, it's just not a color story that I'm going to gravitate towards. Some people love color, and when I did use it, I loved the look I was able to create. It was very beautiful. I got it in a mystery box from Juvia's, so I didn't actually like go and purchase this. But it's beautiful. It's just not something I'm going to use. So this is going to go back into the declutter. This was another one I went and pulled out of the declutter, and it's actually Huda Beauty. So why would I declutter Huda? Well, because I'm not a pastel person, but this formula is a no. This is not a good formula for Huda. This kind of had like the same story as the Jason Wu shadows. Like, I started swatching, and I've already got hard pan in this one, and I just thought that was such a beautiful shade, but like there's barely anything that comes off with that one. Like, barely anything. And it just looks so beautiful. Like, there's just, it's not enough pigment for me. I'm sorry. Maybe that's just supposed to be a topper shade. Maybe that's all that's supposed to be. I don't know. But anyway, I don't wear a lot of pastels, so as much as I love Huda, this is not her normal formula. She has these little 9-pan palettes made in China. I don't see it on the back of this one, but anyway, I'm not going to wear pastels. They're just not going to show up on my skin. They're, I don't know how they show up on many people's skin, to be quite honest with you. If they don't have a lot of pigment to them, they're not. Let's swatch the yellow and see. It's chalky. It's a chalky yellow. It looks exactly like chalk on my finger, so yeah, thank you. I don't want to put that on my eye. So yeah, this is going to go back into the declutter. If somebody wants it, they're more than welcome to try it. If they want to work with their shadows, I'm, again, lazy. I don't want to. All right, so I bought this one. I was very disappointed. Very disappointed. It looked so beautiful. This is the Dominique Cosmetics. I believe it's called Now or Never. There's so much going on the packaging on this. Like, it's hard to tell what the title is. I don't know. Number one, you only get 6 shadows, which that's okay. I knew that. But this is a pressed glitter, so it's taking one of your shadows away because I don't use pressed glitter. So number one, I'm only getting 5 shadows. I like, it's pretty, but out of the rest of the 5 shadows, I get 1 shimmer, which I can work with. But there's just like a very few looks I can do with this. I've reached for this the one time I did the video, and that's been it. That's been it. So as much as I want to love it, I don't. I just don't. And I wish that I could. I wish that I liked especially as much as I paid for it. I wish I liked it more, but it's such a small palette, and for it to be small, I want it to like knock my socks off, you know, especially when I'm going to pay a higher price point for it. I want it to knock my socks off. This one did not, and that press glitter is just awful. It's an awful press glitter. Like, there have been some that, you know, you can work with, not that one. So yeah, don't like this one. Next, this has nothing to do with the collab, okay? I love the collab with Wet n Wild on this. I'm just not a huge fan of Wet n Wild shadows because I've tried so many other different formulas. Oh, I hurt myself. So this one is the Saved by the Bell and Wet n Wild Squad Goals palette. So there's a lot of beautiful things in here, and the only reason I've not used this more is because I've really kept it in the box that it came in, like in the collector's item packaging. So when I used it though, it turned out beautifully. I like the look I was able to create in that video. I was very pleased. And to talk about a pressed glitter, there we go. Wet n Wild has a pretty good pressed glitter. Pretty good. But I just don't reach into this one. It's nothing about the formula. This is just about not reaching into it because it is a collector's item. So that's why I don't use this one as much. So it ranks a little bit lower only for that reason, but I love it still, and I'm so happy to have it in my collection. This one is not going anywhere. This one I'm keeping. This one I think I got this year. I'm pretty sure this came in a boxy charm. I didn't purchase it, so I'm not 100% sure. This is the Ofra Good to Go palette. I look at this palette and I get confused. First of all, I love the highlighter, but we're talking more about the eyeshadows in here. So I look at it and I get a little confused. I'm like, where do I go with that exactly? Like, what do I do? What do I do with those shades? Like, out of these 5 shadows, like, where am I going to make a cohesive eye look out of that? Now this is a little bit dark for me. I have used it, but it is a bit dark. This I love, and this I can use. This is the reason I keep the palette. But yeah, those 5 eyeshadows, I look at them and I'm like, I love the shimmers, but how do I make a full eye look out of that? And I'm the type of person, if I've got a palette, I'm going to pull out a palette to make an eye look. I'm not going to pull out multiple palettes to make multiple eye looks. So I need something, if I'm going to pull it out, I'm going to need a good transition. If I use this for transition, it has some shimmer in it, and I don't like the shimmer. I don't know. I don't know with this one. Like, I just don't know where to go with it. So that's why I don't really like this one as much. I'm not blown away by their eyeshadow formula, to be quite honest. Next, I have the LA Girl Hey Hey Vacay. This I got because everybody raved about the about the LA Girl eyeshadow formula. And for Drugstore, it's a really good formula for Drugstore. Not my favorite from the Drugstore. You get quite a bit from the Drugstore though. This is like a $16 palette, and so you're getting 16 shadows, so you're paying $1 per shadow. The Color Story, I bought it to kind of branch out. I had these 2 blue shades. I had them everywhere on the palette. Like, there was just too much fallout for me. You get a really nice mirror in here, so it is a very affordable palette for sure, and the quality is nice for what you're paying, but it's not my favorite Drugstore formula. So I'm not dogging it. I'm not saying it's horrible. I keep it around, but it's also not my favorite either. So, I mean, do with that what you will, but it's not my favorite. Next, I have this. This is the Elf and Jen Atkin collab. They sold out of the light, so I got the medium to deep or something. So these are the darker shades. This I have to end up using as an eyeshadow. It's not really gonna be a bronzer for me. I can't really use this as a highlighter. I have before, but it's a little too deep. I do use the blush, but I don't reach into this palette all that much just because I don't usually do completely matte looks. I have on occasion, but more than not, I'm gonna reach for something with a few choices of shimmer. I could use this for a shimmer on the eyelid, absolutely, but more times than not, I'm gonna go into a palette that has a little bit more choice for shimmer. That's just my personal preference. So it's not bad. The quality's good. It's e.l.f. quality. It's a nice little palette. I don't think they sell it anymore, but it's not my favorite. Not my favorite. Now I do like e.l.f.'s formula though. They do have a pretty good formula. Let's talk about this one. This is the Rimmel Magnifies Electric Violet edition. So this is like their version of the oh, what is it? It's Urban Decay, but what is the name of it? Ultraviolet, maybe? I can't remember, but it's their version of the Ultraviolet palette from Urban Decay. And I really love, absolutely love the look I was able to come up with in the video I used this in. It was a full face of Rimmel, and it is beautiful. I'm just spoiled by other eyeshadow formulas. This is not the best eyeshadow formula at the drugstore. Definitely not. Maybe one of the more affordable ones for sure. I love this color story though. If you are looking for something inexpensive and you're starting out, this might be a good one to start with because it is inexpensive. It does have a little bit more blendability than some of these that I've spoke about from the drugstore. But I used to use the Rimmel shadows religiously before I got like heavily into makeup. So this is not a bad palette. This is not at all a bad formula. I just have others that I reach for and prefer. So this was also in my giveaway only because I have so much makeup. But it's not bad. It's really not bad, and it doesn't have a bad formula. So if you're looking for something in this color story and you want to spend something inexpensive amount of money on just to try it out, I say go for it, definitely. Next, I have the e.l.f. Mint Melt Eyeshadow Quad. This is their meant to be quad, which is very beautiful. I don't do a whole lot of mint eyeshadow. I do love the mint look I did create in that video. I was going back and looking at it and I was like, oh, that was really pretty. I need to play with this a little bit more often. So this, if you are looking for a outstanding drugstore, truly drugstore formula, this would be it. In my opinion, I think that this is probably my most favorite drugstore. I think so. No, I have another one. Just saw it. But for the price, you can't beat this one. You really can't. This one is a very good one. The bite size eyeshadows, the quads, they're amazing. So this one is the meant to be, so I like that one just a little bit less than this one. This one is the chocolate mint, so this one has a little bit more neutral of a color story, and it has just a bit more, you know, of a pop of mint. So it's a little bit more doable, a little bit more usable on a daily basis. So I do like this quite a bit, and I like the formula on these for sure. These are gorgeous, and I actually think I use these in conjunction with one another. I don't know if these are still for sale. I don't, but I like them. Okay, Sigma. This is the Rosy eyeshadow quad. I'm sorry, eyeshadow palette. It's not a quad. I bought this because of Samantha March. She had this in her favorites from Sigma. There's nothing wrong with the eyeshadow formula. Absolutely nothing. I love Sigma's eyeshadow formula, and you're going to see that in a few minutes. But this color story is not one that I go for that often. It's just a bit I find this one particularly just a bit too red tone, so I don't grab for this all that often. It's still beautiful. The shades perform gorgeously in this. Sigma's formula is just like one of the tops that I love, and it's beautiful, truly beautiful. I just don't reach for this as much as I would some of these other palettes, and that's why it's ranking just a little bit lower on my in my ranking, but it doesn't mean that it's a bad palette by any means. I'm pretty sure I got this year. Pretty sure. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure. This is the Alamar Cosmetics Spanglish palette. Now, this is a beautiful palette. It's absolutely gorgeous. I don't even know if I've used this in a video. I know I did a video with it, but I think I might have scrapped the video, so you may not have seen it. But it is a beautiful color story. I love the shades in here. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. It's just not a color story I'm going to reach for all that often. I'm not going to go for these bright colors. I will reach for it from time to time, but it's not going to be something I go for all that often. So that's why it's just a little bit ranking just a little bit lower. I think this shade, the IK Cute, is probably my favorite, and I probably butchered that because I don't speak Spanish, but it is beautiful. So there's a lot of vibrancy. Like, this palette is not showing up on camera as vibrant as it truly is in person, but it is absolutely gorgeous. The formula is amazing. I love the quality. It's just color story on this one. That's all. This next one, I like the color story a little bit better, but the formula is not that great. This is the Melt Cosmetics Rust palette. Now, this is not something new. This is a beautiful color story. I purchased it because someone influenced me to. they talked me right into it. I dropped it and like got my nail into a bunch of these shades. When I used it, it is not very blendable. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm just very disappointed in the blendability of these shades. However, I have been told that they're more like pressed pigments. And they may actually be pressed pigments. I don't know. Doesn't really say on here. But that's why you have to kind of work with them a little bit differently, and all that kind of stuff. Again, I'm not somebody who likes to work too hard with my shades, but I mean, it's beautiful. It swatches amazing. So this is one I'd like to give another go, and just see what I think about it now. My skills have improved a bit. My blending skills have improved just a bit, not much, but a little. And I'm not as, you know, I'm not as much of a baby about blending as I used to be. So maybe I've learned a thing or two, and I can use it and create something. So I love the color story. Truly love the color story. And I used it in a video of makeup YouTubers influenced me to buy, and I love that video, and I love the look in that video. I did a bunch of mattes. I did an all matte look in that video, so one of the few times you'll see that. But I do like the color story, so I want to give this another go and just see if I can fall in love with it a little bit more. Next is my Lorelei Los Angeles Candy Skies palette. This was her collab with her, starting to say her daughter. It's her niece, Erin Weaver. So the only thing on this is the color story. I love everything about this. I love the smell. It smells so good. Oh, so good. I love this. I love the shades in here. The only thing is, I'm not reaching for this color story. That's the only thing. And I will from time to time. I did another all matte look with this when I did the review on this one, so I do all matte looks sometimes. But I really love Lorelei's formula. She has a wonderful formula. I love this cloudy shade. It is very similar to the shade I have on my eye today. It's not the shade though. But I love a lot of her formula. A lot of her formulas are just absolutely gorgeous. Look at that blue. I want to be more adventurous with my color, but you know, I'm a neutral girl. I like neutrals and I stay pretty neutral for the most part. So that's one of the reasons I just don't reach for this as often as I wish that I did, but it's beautiful nonetheless. If I'm going to go for a mint look, I'm probably going to reach into this more than I would my other shades. But I do absolutely love this palette. It's gorgeous. It's just because of the color story, it's a little bit lower. And speaking of mint, I have my Juvia's Place Mints palette. Again, Juvia's Place has an amazing formula. So I love this quad. I do. And I think it's one of the more diverse quads that they came out with, because they have 4 of these, and I'm going to rank these. So I do think that this one's one of the more diverse ones. However, this color story is not what I'm reaching for all that often. So that's the only reason that I don't rank this a bit higher. However, it's very beautiful. I'm not getting rid of this. I love Juvia's. I want to hold on to this in case I get that feeling to do an all mint look, or you know, some more pastels or something. Then I have this in my collection. So I love the monochromatic idea in this, and I think it's absolutely gorgeous. You can see the shimmers from Juvia's are spectacular. That one in particular is like a duochrome shift, and I don't know that the camera's going to do it justice, but it's absolutely gorgeous. So love this one. It's just not a color story I reach for. Sorry, you're going to hear me say that a lot. I try to be a little bit more bold and a little bit more daring. I'm not. My Samantha March and Oh for Life's a Draft palette. Again, I love this. I love that it's a palette, a face and eye palette. So you've got your 8 eyeshadows, and then you have a blush, highlighter, and bronzer. So that makes it wonderful that everything's all together. I've used this quite a bit, actually. I mean, compared to the stuff I have in my collection, I use it quite a bit, and I like it. I just don't reach for Ofra's formula over a lot of the other formulas I have in my collection, so that's the only thing. And my makeup preferences can change day to day, honestly, so it can always be a little different. But I love the combination of the two. Again, this color story is just not what I'm reaching for all that often. I do like the purples. I like the purples in here, but the like red tones, I'm not reaching for those. Burgundies, I guess I should say. I would be lying if I said packaging didn't take this down a bit for me. I don't like the packaging on this. I'm just gonna be real. I don't like it. So this is the Moonspell palette from Lunar Beauty. The formula of this is to die for. I love the formula, and that's the reason I keep the palette. I love the greens, obviously. This Mary shade is gorgeous. Samantha, Phoebe, oh, so pretty. But there's some absolutely gorgeous shades in here. He actually came out with the Moonspell Volume 2. I'm not gonna get it because it's reds and purples, and as much as I love the purples, I have a lot of purples in here to work with, and I'm not gonna reach for reds. I'm just not going to. I feel like it makes me look sick, honestly. So this is a beautiful palette. I love the formula. If the formula wasn't good, I wouldn't keep it around, but the packaging knocks this down, honestly. If the packaging wasn't like this, I would probably like it a bit better. Next is another Juvia's Place quad. This is the Rebel Grays. So you can see it's a beautiful quad. It's so gorgeous. The only reason I'm not ranking these higher, because I do love my Juvia's Place shadows, but the only reason this doesn't go a little bit higher is because these shimmer shades, they end up being so similar. So similar. One's a bit lighter than the other, but they end up being so similar on the eye. This one actually is a shimmer too. Maybe it's a satin. But I mean, there's not a whole lot of, like, this is going to give you a tiny bit of depth, but these three are so similar, you're just not getting a very diverse look with this one. So that's one reason I just don't rank this a bit higher. I do love it. I love the quality of it. Juvia's has an amazing quality. This is the Drugstore affordable formula that you need to be trying at Ulta. That's in the Drugstore affordable section, because they are amazing. So definitely try it, but I just don't like that there's not more diversity, which of course they're probably meant to be monochrome, but I think we could have had a little bit more diversity. That's just me. And then I have another one. This is the Rebel Honey. So you get 3 mattes and 1 shimmer in here. And these two, they look almost like the exact same shade. There's a tiny bit of difference, but you get them on your eye, you're not seeing a huge difference. So there's not a whole lot that you can do that is going to be diversifying this palette either. So, I mean, it's going to look pretty similar. There's the swatches. It's going to look pretty similar on the eye. That's my only qualm with these. So yes, again, I know they're monochromatic, and that's what they're meant for. But for me, I just need a tiny bit more depth between these 2 shades at least. Just a little bit. Another Huda Beauty palette. This, I've just not got to play with all that much, so I can't really rank it any higher. just because I've not played with it enough to rank it higher. This one is the Rose Gold Remastered palette. It's a beautiful palette. It truly, truly is beautiful. I love the color scheme. There's some reds and pinks in here, but there's a lot of neutrals also, and that's why I really gravitate toward it. But again, I'm just not used it enough to be able to rank it any higher, so that's why it's going right here. But still, I think she's improved on her formula since this palette. That's, I think, another reason why I've not used it more. But I do like it. I like it a lot. It's just not one of my favorites from her. Then back to Juvia's. We have the Nomad palette from Juvia's. I love this palette. I did a beautiful green with a little bit of mustardy yellow look to my eye, and it was so gorgeous. These shades, I can't quit swatching, and I need to. We need to stop it. But these are so gorgeous. You hear birds singing. I love this palette. This is one of my favorites from Juvia's. I love it so much. We're kind of getting middle of the pack now, and I just really love it. There's not a whole lot negative to say about this one. I just love it. I do. I love it. And then I've got a few Juvia's placed right here all together. So this one is the Juvia's, the Bronze Rustic, which is beautiful. It has a red shade, it has a pop of red, but I still like the bronzy shades, the bronzy tones in here. This one here, stop it. I've got to stop myself. But these are so beautiful. Do you see? Like, this is more, it's like a monochromatic, but it's a little bit more definition, a little bit more depth. Yeah, that's what I like. That's what I like. That's what I want to see. So yes, I love a quad. Don't get me wrong. I do love a quad, but I need a little bit more from a quad. So we could have cut out a couple of these and made it a quad. I have eyeshadow all over me. This is why I shouldn't swatch. Then I have another Juvia's. This is the Blush Rose. I just really love this palette. Like, I'm not a huge pink eyeshadow person, but I really love this one. This one, like, there's just something about it that really speaks to me. I don't know exactly what it is, but this one, I know I said I wasn't going to swatch. This one in particular, I love that shade. Just like one of my favorites. And then this, like, fiery orange. Yeah, just, I love it. It's so beautiful. Like, just for an example, like, just let's say we cut those off, that could have been a nice quad, you know, with some depth. That's all I'm saying about the quads. But formula is impeccable. So the Rebel Army. This is my favorite quad. This is my favorite quad. There is still not a whole lot of definition in this. I'm gonna have to say, it ranks a little bit higher because I like the greens. So let's swatch. So do you see there's not a whole lot of difference? I'll swatch on side by side. Just, I mean, like, the most subtle of differences. So there's just not a whole lot of like, you can't lighten this up very much. Like, if you're going to use one of these as a transition, like, for me, I'm going to need just a little bit more of a lighter shade, which I could go into the mints to get. But yeah, that's my only qualm with this one, but I do love it because it's green. Yeah, love it. My green phase will be following us into 2022. So I hope you guys are ready for that. I'm not giving that up. Okay, so moving on to ColourPop. I'm not doing this by brand, so we could move on to ColourPop and something else. This is one I tried in 2021, and I love this. I love the tones, the shades, the shimmers. This one is a beautiful duochrome. The pressed glitter in here kind of knocks it down just a bit for me, but this is a beautiful palette. I love it. I just don't reach for it as much because I have a lot like this, so I'm drawn to these shades a lot, but still love it. So glad to have it in my collection. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Next is the Stone Cold Fox. This one is a beautiful palette. This is a lot of cool tones. This is perfect for like the winter time. You know, it's just, it's good. It's good. There's a lot of beautiful tones in here. You can make it very gray. You can make it a little bit more pink. You can just do so much with this. You can make it more purple. You can go so many different ways with with this because there's so many different shades in here. So I I really love these larger palettes. However, I'm gravitating toward a little bit smaller of a palette these days because I look at this. Whoop, I'm gonna have a crash. Um, I look at this and I get a bit overwhelmed. And I'm like, oh, I want to use this and I want to use that and I want to use that one. I want to, and there's just not enough in my eye to use all the colors I want to use. So that's why I don't love these as much as I used to. Like I used to think, oh, I need the big palettes, you know, but I don't love them as much as I used to. So next, Bare Necessities. Same thing. I just like the warmer tones just a bit better, just a tiny bit. There's not a huge difference between this and the Stone Cold Fox, but the Stone Cold Fox is definitely cooler. You're going to notice that, but there's a lot of diversity in this one. Just some beautiful shades. I just love it. I've used this one a little bit more than Stone Cold Fox. That's the reason I rank it just a bit higher. I've taken this on trips. I mean, like, this has been a good one. I love it. I love the shade here, the Silk Teddy, like one of my favorite shades. But yeah, there's just so many good things in here, and again, so many ways you can go. But again, I open it up and I'm like, oh, I want to use that one, and I want to use this one, and I want to use that one, and I just go everywhere. So I have to really contain myself with what I want to do. So while you can go really warm in here, you can also go a little bit more cool in some aspects. So there's a great black in here and a great lighter shade too. So that gives a lot of depth. And also this brown has some micro glitter in it, so it's not a complete matte brown, but that's nice. So a lot of diversity. Next, we have another Lunar Beauty. I hate the packaging on this. I've said it numerous times. However, I love the color story, and Color Story gets it. I just love this. I love the looks I can create with this, the depth I can have. This one's good. I love his eyeshadow formula. I think he's improved upon it since this palette, but still, this one's really, really good, and I enjoy it a lot. So I'm glad that I have it in my collection. I'm glad that I'm able to enjoy this formula. This is the most neutral, in my opinion, that he has. I don't know if he still sells this palette, but I know I still love it. So I'm glad that I have it. And yeah, I really love this one. Another ColourPop favorite was this little quad. This is the Citrus Fizz quad, and I love this. See, this has diversity and depth. You have 2 mattes and 2 shimmers. So in this one, you have a lighter shimmer and a mid-tone shimmer. In my opinion, it's mid-tone. And so you have a little bit of depth there, and then you have a darker matte and a like more mid-tone matte. So you have a lot you can do with this. Yeah, there's probably only a few looks you can do with this, but still, it's beautiful. I love it. This is one of the better things that ColourPop's done. A little bit more expensive from ColourPop, but I do like it. The formula in this is really good. I've told myself I'm going to use more of the quads, or try them out at least, but I haven't made it to it yet. So one day. It's not like I'm hurting for eyeshadow. You guys see that, don't you? Next is the She Glam palette. This is the Afterglow palette. I just got this just to do a full face of She Glam, and I ended up loving this. Absolutely fallen in love, loving this. So I never bought the Natasha Denona gold palette. I never got it. Never purchased it. But it's discontinued now as far as I know. But I'm really glad to have this because this is a dupe. And so I have a duped Color Story at least. And there are so many nice shades in here. And one of the ones that I just really love is this blue, and it is a creamy, like cream to powder formula. So it's very beautiful, and I love it, and I love the look I did in that video. And I can just, I mean, it's a neutral palette, so there's so much you can do with this, but then it has that pop of blue, and it's just gorgeous. It's just so gorgeous. So I highly recommend this one. And there's probably a lot more of the good stuff from She Glam. I did a whole video on She Glam, and they have quite a bit of good stuff. So, yeah, my Michaela and Glam Light palette. I love this palette. It is so beautiful. The formula, impeccable, amazing. The reason, the Color Story. There's some neutrals. I'm not gonna lie, I love the neutrals, but for the most part, I'm just not going for this Color Story. But these purples are amazing, and if you didn't see the video on this, you need to go watch it because I just love my look I did with this one. This just, there's so many good things in here. Oh, that's a beautiful creamy shade. Well, I dipped 2 fingers in, I didn't mean to. There are just so many good things about this, and I love this palette, and it's so beautiful. I'm so glad to have it. I love Glamlight's formula. I have a few things from them, and I've just never been disappointed. So definitely try it if you get the opportunity, and I think you'll be impressed. I really do. This might be my favorite drugstore eyeshadow formula, and there's no mattes in this palette. That's the only downside. But this is my Flower Beauty Desert Lights palette. Oh my gosh, this palette, if you've never tried this one, or even the Jungle Lights, I've heard is basically the same formula, just whatever appeals to you as far as color story. The shimmers in here are absolutely to die for. To come from the drugstore, oh my goodness, it is amazing. Let me just, it's like almost like a putty when I stick my finger in there. Here's 2. Absolutely gorgeous. I love this. These are a little bit more expensive for drugstore, I'm not gonna lie to you, but oh my gosh, look at the pan sizes and look at how gorgeous. So I do need mattes when I use this one, so that's one of the downsides. I have to pull out mattes, but I love the shimmer formula so much, I'm not upset about having to pull out another palette for mattes. So I can do that. I can do it. I got this one this year. This is the KKW palette. I think it's the Classics or Classics 2. I can't remember. Love this palette. I truly love her shimmer formula. I think her shimmers are some of the best I've tried, to be quite honest. I'm very impressed with this. I love the formula. She's rebranding, so this is not available at the moment, but yeah, I love it. It's really good. If you get a chance to try it when it comes back, I highly suggest and recommend this one. It's really good. I have nothing negative to say about this palette. I just have a few I reach for a little bit more, but this one is really good, and I didn't try it for a long time because it was Kim Kardashian's, and I'm like, the rich get richer, blah blah blah. I do. I like this one. I like it a lot. Next, I have another Huda Beauty. This one was not included in my Huda Beauty ranking or palette ranking because this was actually in the giveaway pile, and I'm actually going to keep it. I've decided. This one is the nude medium, and the only reason I was getting rid of it is I felt like I needed to downsize because I was getting a big collection, and yeah, I probably do, but I have makeup and I love it and all that. 9 pans are not as good as her larger, like, are they 15 pan? I think they're 15 pan. They're not as good, but this is still a beautiful palette. I love the medium nude because there's a lot of depth in this. There's a lot of different, I mean, yeah, it's still kind of, you know, the same color story, but there's a lot to be done with this palette, and I love it. So I love this palette. I'm glad to have it. I'm glad I went and got this out of my giveaway because I've talked about wanting to get it back, and I finally did it, and I'm glad I did because it's a good one. It's a really good one. Sigma Quarter Rosa. I love this palette. Again, I just dug my nail in. Do you know that like pains me deeply when I do that? Okay, so Sigma Quarter Rosa. This is beautiful. I love this. I love the coral shades in here. Now, some of these like berry tones, I'm not gonna reach for as much. I'm not gonna lie to you, but I love the depth and the dimension from the corals. That's what I reached for this for. But yes, this is a wonderful Sigma palette. I love it so much. Definitely one of the best. One of the best. Next, this is an oldie, but one I had to try this year. This is the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette. I love this palette. It's so beautiful. I love the Too Faced 10 palettes. I love these. They're so good. This smells like peaches too. So beautiful. I love this one. I do. I love it so much. There is so much beauty, so much. There's just so much beauty in here. I don't know what else to say. I love it so much. I'm so glad that I bought this. I'm so glad I have it in my collection. This is not going anywhere. I love Too Faced. It took me a long time to finally try them, and when I did, I fell in love. And this is good. Really good. And while I'm on Too Faced, let's talk about Teddy Bear. I love the Teddy Bear palette. This is one of the smaller palettes from Too Faced. still just as expensive, but it's one of the smaller ones. And I think it smells like vanilla, I think. But I love this color story. Obviously, this kind of reminds me of the Corta Rosa palette a bit. But this is not as berry toned as Corta Rosa. That's why I put this a little bit higher, because I like it a little bit better. So it's just gorgeous. I just love this. I took this on vacation with me back in July. Is that when we, yeah, July is when we went on vacation, and it was just perfect for vacation. I wore it so much, reached for it so much, and it's one of the better palettes from Too Faced. Absolutely. And then another from Too Faced would be the Cinnamon Swirl. Just used this in a video not long ago. I love this one. Yeah, okay, it's pretty neutral, straight across the board. I get that, but I love neutral. If you haven't noticed, I have a thing for neutrals, and this is beautiful. I love it so much. I'm so glad to have it, and I love this palette. But there's just it smells like cinnamon rolls, sweet cinnamon rolls. Oh, it's so good. I love this one. This was the new one this year, and I just love it. I love it so much. Speaking of Cinderella, I meant Sigma and I said Cinderella. Okay, it works. Speaking of Sigma, I love my Cinderella palette. I love this. There's so much depth in here. Like, this is not something I would be like, ColourPop would do a Cinderella palette and this would be it. Like, Cinderella from ColourPop would be like all blue, all pink, you know, like it would be something along those lines. Sigma did it right. Sigma did everything right on this one. I love it so much. There's so many good shades in here, and I love it. I'm so glad I have it. I'm so glad that I splurged and got this one. Yeah, I love it so much. This shade right here, Dressmakers, is like, oh, butter. It's good. It's good. It's so good. And if you want a good Disney collab, this one's the one to get. ColourPop does Disney collabs all the time, and I'm not downing ColourPop. I just think that Sigma did this one very well. One I've not spoke about in a long time, but I still love very much, is the Naked Wild West palette. I love this from Urban Decay. Urban Decay is something you don't hear a lot about as far as like being one of those brands that people just love. I love the color story of this, okay? This is like one of those color stories that I'm like, I look at it and oh, I love it. You know, like it still speaks to me. But yeah, this one is beautiful. I love it so much, and I'm so glad I have it. Like, it's one of those palettes that is just going to be like a staple in my collection for a very long time, and I can do a lot with it. There's a lot of variety in here, and I love that there's just these pops of like turquoisey blue, and yeah, there's just a lot to be done in here, and I'm very happy to have it. I love this. Still one of my favorites, and very happy to have this one. It's beautiful. One that I used so much in 2021. Jaclyn Hill Divine Neutrals with Morphe. Oh my gosh. This palette was used, abused, and used and abused again. Oh my gosh. I love this palette. I love it so much. I love the shades, the shimmers. Yeah. It's just a beautiful palette. And yes, it's neutral. It's neutral. But that's why I love it so much. I used it day in, day out. And it was just one of those palettes that I just gravitated toward and loved, and just, it was easy and it was inexpensive, and that's another reason why I loved it so much. It was so inexpensive. So this one's a great palette, and if it's still available, I highly suggest picking it up before it goes away, because it's just one of those staple palettes that I'm glad I have. Morphe is not necessarily one of my favorite eyeshadow brands. It's not one I would like buy from all the time, but this one I'm glad I have for sure. Moving back to Huda. This is my Khaki Haze from Huda Beauty. I love this. I love the shades. I love the greens, of course, obviously. I had to work with this one just a bit when I first got it, because at first I was like, this is not doing what I want it to do. But after I worked with it just a bit, I think it's like one of those things where you kind of have to scratch off the top or something. But once you do, you get the pigment. And do you get the pigment? It's just so good. I love this. but it is so beautiful. I love it so much. I'm so glad I got it. So glad I splurged. But yes, one of her better ones of the 9 pans. My favorite that I have of the 9 pans for sure. Oh no, I have one above it. Sorry. So this one is not new, but one I grabbed this year. This is the Huda Beauty Desert Dusk palette. This is a beautiful palette, and I love this palette. I grabbed it for this shade here called Retrograde. And it is so gorgeous, but it doesn't show up like that on my eye, and I was a little bit disappointed in that, but I still love the tones in here. I love that it's so earthy, but yet so beautiful. I loved it so much, and I used it a few times and enough to say that I really, really love it, and I'm very happy to have it. So this is one of her older ones, so it's not the newer formula that's just absolutely amazing, but it's still very, very good. So I love it. My favorite 9-pan palette is my new one. This one is the Wild Jaguar palette from Huda Beauty. Oh my gosh, is this not gorgeous? Hopefully by now you've seen the Get Ready With Me that I did with this palette. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I love this palette. This is such a good palette. The black in here is a good black. Oh, 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 so good. I just love it. It's so pretty. Let me show you this real quick. There's that middle shade. Oh, I could just eat it. It's that good. Love this palette. This is definitely my favorite of the 9-pan palettes. This is something she's improved on. Her formula is much better in these palettes, or at least this one for sure. But I love it. I love it so much. This is gorgeous. This is a new favorite. Huda Beauty Rose Quartz. I love this one. I truly love this. This was such a good release from her. This was her holiday release this year. Oh my goodness, is it good? It is so good. Hopefully you can see that reflect in this one. Oh, so pretty. I'm sorry, I can't help it. Like, dipping my fingers in eyeshadow makes me like a better person. I believe that with all my heart. Like, this is just, oh, so pretty. So pretty. Ooh, so pretty. It is gorgeous. I think I mixed a couple. I know I did, because that looked too close to the other one. Whoopsie. But anyway, I love this palette. It's gorgeous. I'm so glad that I got it. I love Huda Beauty. This is the amazing formula that I know that she had, you know, just perfected. And these are made in Italy, so that makes them amazingly amazing. And yeah, just everything about this palette is the best. Top notch, amazing, spectacular. Love it so much, and I'm so glad to have this. Love it. My favorite Huda Beauty palette though is still Naughty Nude. I just can't get over this one. This one is still my favorite, and I wish, no I don't. I wish I could like something else better. I don't wish I could. I like this one. This one is just like, oh, it's so good. And you want to know my favorite, probably my favorite shade in here that is just like so different and just unique, and it's not the slippery shade, definitely not. But the one that I like probably the most out of this palette is this one, Passion. Like, it is just, oh, look at that. It's good. Oh, it's so good. I love it. I love it. And I love this palette so much. And I've used this palette nonstop. I used it on my best friend. She loved it. You know, this is just one of those palettes that I don't see myself ever getting rid of. Unless it's like decrepit and old. I just love this palette. So, very thankful to have it. And I love it. This is not new. I expanded my Natasha Denona collection. At the end of last year, believe it or not, all I had was the Glam, the Bronze. Those were the only two mini palettes that I had. And then I had this is not a ranking. This is not in the ranking. But I had the mini Zendo. And I believe I already had these from from BoxyCharm, I'm pretty sure. Because I didn't keep BoxyCharm for very long this year. I didn't. So, that was all I had from Natasha Denona at the end of last year. And it exploded for me this year. So, I got the Love palette around, Valentine's Day. Duh. That's when I got this, and I love this. This is a beautiful palette. I love it for the purples more than I do like the pinks and the reds, but it's still a beautiful palette. It's my least favorite midi palette, but it is still a beautiful palette. I just wish I loved those like burgundy reds and stuff a little bit more, and I think I would like this a little bit better, but it's still not my favorite. It's not my most used by any means. I'm glad I have it in my collection for sure, because I think it's like limited release, limited, I don't know how much longer it's going to be around, but I'm very glad to have it. I still love it. I love the Love, but it's just not my favorite. And then the mini Love, I love this one. I got this one about the same time I did the large Love, and this one is beautiful too. Absolutely gorgeous. I have no complaints with this one. It's just gorgeous. It has that buttery Natasha Denona formula that we all hopefully know. I don't know if you don't. You should. But we all know, and hopefully we love. This is more my speed as far as like Natasha Denona. Like this color scheme is definitely more my speed. That's why I like this better than I do the midi. But oh my gosh, these colors. Oh, they're so pretty. I love them. I love them. Her formula though, her eyeshadow formula, it's one of those formulas that is just amazing. And like, I had to eat my words on it, and I've said it before, but I said, we don't need Natasha Denona. Well, yeah, we do. We just totally do, because it's that good. It's that good. The next one for me is my mini retro. I just got this not long ago, so I haven't played with it enough to rank it much higher, but I still love it, and it ranks a little bit higher because of these greens. So let me just swatch for you. I can't help it. When I get into Natasha Denona, I feel like I have to swatch. So I do apologize. But how beautiful are those? So gorgeous. I love this palette. So glad I have it. I purchased it, I think during the Sephora sale maybe. I can't remember. I purchased so many of these minis here lately. It's ridiculous. But they're so beautiful. I love them. Next, my mini Metropolis. I'm so glad I have this. I'll just do a couple out of here. Okay, I'll just swatch a couple. So here are my couple swatches out of here. So beautiful. I love the mini Metropolis. I'm so glad I have this. Definitely, it's scrumptious. It's that good. It's so good. I love this palette. This was her Christmas release and her holiday release, and I love it. I love it so much. Mini Gold. I love this palette. This one is a good one. This one, I have to swatch 3 because I have to swatch the greens for you because they're so good. Oh, they're good. This is a beautiful palette. This was my favorite mini until I got this next one. But I love this. Love it so much. And it is just gorgeous. And it's good. It's good. This is my newest mini and my favorite mini at the moment. I just love this. There are neutral colors in here, but it is so gorgeous. It is a perfect everyday 5-pan palette. Like, this is so easy to grab and to go. So this is my favorite mini. I love it. I love it so much. These colors are beautiful. They're perfect. I love them. So yes, I have to call this my favorite. There's some swatches. Oh, just so beautiful. This is good. Very good. I've gone through so many makeup wipes in this video. It's ridiculous. I struggled with where to put these. I honestly did. Because I love these a lot and I use them so often. These are my Natasha Denona face palettes. I love these. love them so much. I use them on a daily basis. I love that they're a combination highlight, blush, and eyeshadow. So, you know, you get everything in here. But these, oh, these are just really amazing. These are amazing, amazing, amazing. And I'm so glad to have them. So, there is nothing bad I can say about this one. I love it. I'm so glad to have it. This is a light. So I like the light one, but the one I like more than the light is the dark. I actually like the dark one better. And it's just the depth of the shadows in the dark. So here's the dark one. And I just think that the depth of these shadows is amazing. So here are some swatches. So beautiful. I love this so, so much. And I'm so glad that I got both. Did I need both? No, but I'm glad that I got both. I struggled with which one to get, and then I was like, I'm gonna get the light. And then I got the light, and I was like, oh, I need the dark too. And then the monster was born. So I've really struggled. I'm to my top 3. Okay, my top 3 favorites this year. And I really struggled with how to put these in my top 3. I knew they were going to be my top 3. There was no question. But I didn't know exactly how to put them because I love them all. And I mean, honestly, when I say I love them equally, I do. I do love them equally. It's like children. You have multiple children. You love them all. You love them equally. I don't know. Just because Natasha is like the love of my eyeshadow life, this is how I'm gonna do it. So I tried Pat McGrath, like the big palettes, this year. Not long ago, actually. This is the Bronze Seduction. Holy cow. Holy cow. This is an amazing, amazing palette. This is so good. It really, oh my gosh, it is. And for me to rank this above some of my Natasha Denona palettes, that is saying something. That is saying something. Love this palette. It's amazing. There is so much good coming out of here. I just love it. I don't know what else to say. There are so many good things in here. Her special shades, there's like, I don't even know what to say about her special shades. Like, they are so, oh, they're special indeed. They're very, very special. Gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. I'm so happy I tried this. So happy I tried this. I'm happy I bought this one in particular. I love the color story. This purple, that purple, oh, I love it. Yeah, I'm in love. Love it so much. Yes, absolutely. If you've been thinking about Pat McGrath, try it. She has like an end of year sale, I think. I don't know if it's still going on when you see this, but if it is, grab it. Grab something. I've been saying all night how I don't like the reds. That red I love. That's a red I love. It's good, y'all. It's so good. Okay. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. Natasha Denona Retro. This is the retro palette that came out this year. I love this palette. It is so beautiful. These tones are the types of like purples that I like to wear. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Love them all. They are so beautiful. Like, I just randomly selected some. This palette, y'all, is amazing. Just absolutely amazing. Like, there's so many good things about it. I just love it so much. Oh my gosh, I love it. I'm so glad I have it. Let me swatch one of these like deeper shades for you. Oh yeah, I love it. I'm so glad I have it. Oh, there's so many good things about this palette. I love it so much. I'm so glad. If I could tie for number 1, this would tie for number 1. But I guess technically it's number 2. But I love it. I love it so, so much. It's beautiful. So my number 1 palette that I tried in 2021 didn't even come out in 2021. It is the Big Biba. The Big Biba. I love this palette. It's neutral. It's me. It screams me. there's just so many good things about this palette. Like, I don't even know where to begin. There are so many beautiful shades in here. I love these cream to powders. Like, those, I never thought that I would love those as much as I do. Look at the black. That black is amazing. It's so good. There's just so many good shades in here, and I just love this palette. And like, I literally didn't ever think, I just didn't think I was gonna have one of these like $129 palettes, and I was able to. I was able to get the $129 palette, and it was on sale. That's how I got it, and that's how I got the Pat McGrath one too. I got it on sale. So I am a bargain shopper, but like, you guys, I love this palette so much. Like, this is just so good. Like, this mustardy orange. It's not orange. This mustardy yellow. I'm losing it. Mustardy yellow. Like, that's gorgeous. Like, there's so much. Let me just swatch that one really quickly. See how beautiful that is? Oh, so pretty. There's just too much. There's too much good in here for me not to rank this number 1. I'm sorry. I just love it that much. And yes, I'm a neutral girl, and I'm always going to be a neutral girl, and there's just no change in that. And that black, I mean, I know I've said it before, but that black, if you've ever wanted a black shadow, this is the best black shadow. It's the cream to powder. Look at that. Holy cow. Oh, there's so few things in life that make me as happy as makeup. There's my swatches. So pretty. I can just cry. They're so beautiful. Oh, I just love makeup, you guys. I just do. It just makes me so happy. Like, I could be having a bad day, or not feeling the best physically. There's so many things, and I could just sit down and play in some makeup, and it just, like, it changes everything. It changes my spirit and mood and everything, and it makes me so much happier. I just love makeup. So I love it. So those are all the palettes that I tried in 2021, and I've ranked them. So tell me what you think. Am I crazy? Do you disagree? Do you think that I definitely have too many eyeshadow palettes? That's for sure. But do you think that you've tried some of these and you think that some are better than the other? Like, tell me what you think. Let me know. But yeah, definitely my Biba is my favorite my favorite of 2021 for sure. So going into 2022, this is going to be really hard to beat. I'm not going to lie to you. This is going to be a hard one to beat. I'm so excited. I've already made some purchases for 2022. This is the first day of 2022, and I've already made some purchases. And I can't help myself. I have an addiction, and it is what it is. But yeah. Okay. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I get a little crazy when it's late, so I do hope you enjoyed. I hope that this was fun to watch. I do enjoy the ranking videos, so if this was long, I apologize. I try to go quickly, but I get just watching and I just can't help myself. So but I hope you guys are staying safe, happy, and healthy, and you are enjoying your new year, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.